Hello, my beauties. How are you? Surprise! I'm back to do another interview in the Everyday Women Summit series number 3, Where Women Gather. You know, the intro says the sisterhood is the guide to life, right? And I am living that. And if you are not, come and hang out with us and live that with us. Because before this call, Jennifer, I was talking to Paula, who's also in the summit, because we have projects on the go in our big, great, big worlds. And we were saying, like, the summit, this movement isn't just like a consumption, sit back and watch. And I've used that a lot in the messaging, but it really is about knowing each other and being intimate with each other and being involved with each other in our personal lives, in our business lives, and other places that we may need. And what's
Mhm.
really phenomenal to me about that is the online connection. And I I feel it in my heart, and I can't know for sure, but I will lean on belief that in person will be even greater because, the internet's not gonna pause and Zoom's not gonna hang, and we'll be able to touch each other
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
smell each other and be with one another truly. So I'm going totally off script with the intro to this, but it's the testament and the real, meaning and intent of this summit and of really being in community with each other. And you guys, Jennifer Shook has a story that, um, how would we find ourselves navigating it? And who do we think we would be if we didn't have community around us? So, in your like 20-ish years of being with Scotty, the ebbs and flows and the surprises that God has had for you guys
Mhm.
um, has helped you as in your purpose to be a Christian life coach, to help
Mhm.
women in freedom and identity. I've downloaded some of your guides. I have them behind me to work through around, marriage not being what you thought it would be. Like mine, we're not married. He's still not divorced from his first wife, right? They've been separated a long time, but there's a grief there. It's different than the experience in your marriage with addiction. But where
Yes.
do we spend time to appreciate that? And because of your work and your lived experience, I'm able to give myself more space and place to think about that and to appreciate that and
Mhm.
then to be heard and seen. And Jennifer
Yes.
brings this like beautiful, safe place to go into that deep, dark discomfort and to come out shining, to come out shining. And you've been tested and you've been refined and it's ongoing and you're using it for good. And
Mhm.
that's the whole point where nothing is wasted in these
Right.
experiences and that we don't get drowned by them,
Hmm.
right?
Yes, absolutely.
So
Yes.
let's talk about the people around you who've helped you navigate
Yeah.
your lived history so far. It's a
Hmm.
series of 5 questions, and they all kind of feed into each other beautifully. So tell us, Jennifer, the circle around you when you think about your community in whatever parts of your timeline and any pieces that you want to share, who have been the ones who have been there with you? What different roles have they served, and why have they been so important to you?
Yeah. You know, there are people in my life, and I'm sure you can relate to this too, that they're going to be there forever. They're lifelong friends, they're lifelong family and community. And then there's others that have been on my journey with me that have just it's been a season, right? And I can look back to the people that were in our life with Scotty and I at the beginning, and I thought, oh, these people are going to be here forever. These are our forever friends. Like we're living life with these people. But some of those people have moved on and not for any bad reasons, right? But just that's life. And so I can honestly say that I have been blessed with different circles of people, but
Mhm.
all of them playing a unique role and all of them pouring life into me. And One of the biggest blessings, I have this group of friends that I have known for almost 30 years.
Mm,
And we are the type of community where we can get together and like it could be months and you just pick up right where you left off. We have gone on trips together. We raised our kids together. We've been at when our parents have died or children have been born. We've been together for those kinds of life experiences. And so that has been a constant in my life. And I'm thankful for that group of women. There's
mhm,
6 of us total,
mhm,
and that has been a huge blessing. And those women have seen me in all of my different stages, like all the way back where honestly, like I was scared of community. I didn't really know what I didn't know, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I didn't want to be vulnerable because that's risky and scary, and I didn't know if I could trust people with the deepest, darkest secrets of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
You can't trust most people with those.
right? So yeah,
Uh,
I think a lot of women that are going to listen to this summit are going to relate to that, where it is scary to open yourself up to other people, um, because we've been hurt in the past. It's hard to trust people. What if I share this? Am I going to be judged? You know,
mhm,
and so I'm thankful for that constant group that have been in my life for all of those years, who have seen me at my worst, seen me at my best.
yeah,
They can call me on my BS, right? Like they know me
yeah,
so well. And and then just looking back to 2018 is when my husband relapsed, and he had been sober for 17 years, and I had never lived in addiction before. It was
mhm,
something completely brand new to me. And honestly, looking back, I don't even know if I'd be sitting here with you right now if it weren't for the people that God put in my life, because
mhm,
they saved me, and
yeah,
it wasn't a lot of people. So looking back to 2018, um, I quickly learned that I needed to have a small group, 1 or 2 people really,
mhm,
just that I could walk through this really difficult time with, that because I was in survival mode for sure. I was
mhm,
trying to figure out how to live life in this addiction cycle
yeah,
and how to have my own boundaries and self-care. How do I support my husband? It was all so brand new to me. And I was a pretty high capacity person before that, but when
yeah,
I got sucked into that cycle, it I couldn't do as much
yeah,
anymore, and that was frustrating. So I was trying to figure that out. And so I had to limit the amount of people that were in my life just because it took energy to share what was
yeah,
going on.
yeah,
And so God put a couple ladies in my life that they were the type of people I could call at 3 in the morning,
mhm,
when my husband didn't come home and I didn't know where he was and I'm scared
yeah,
and I need somebody to talk to and, talk me off the ledge.
yeah. And just to help you, be there for you, hold you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
There were 2 women that I'm thinking of right now that have been in that journey with me since 2018.
Mhm,
And they're the type of friends that they were for me. They would encourage me. They they would speak truth to me,
right,
but they also would listen.
right.
There was no judgment because, when you go into a situation that you've never lived in before, and I know you've experienced this too, where we really don't know what we're going to do until we're in the situation,
That's right.
right?
100%.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure I would have, given all kinds of advice before I lived what I'm living now.
Yeah.
Not anymore because you just don't know. Like you don't know what you're going to do until you're living in it. And so these women, they would they would just let me process through, right? Without
Mhm,
judgment,
yeah.
without condemnation. I made a lot of mistakes along the way. And I needed that safety and that space to be able to do that and to just figure myself out and figure out what I was doing. And it was important to me for these women to believe in my husband as well because I didn't want to give up on him. And they were not giving up on him either. And
That's
so
huge.
it
That's
was huge.
so, it leads into the next question. I'll just jump in a little bit,
Mhm.
because if we're mostly coaches watching and listening and contributing, coaching industry teaches healing and growth and transformation but there has to be space to just be and to not be pushing to the next step and to hold the messy and to let that woman, Jennifer, myself, and my journey, particularly of the last year, to just be a hot mess, but be held and be reassured in those times until you can figure it out. Because there's times where we are, kicking butt and taking names and things are happening. And then there's times where we just can't even brush our teeth or talk.
Right.
And we need to sit in that for a
Yeah.
bit, right? Not get stuck forever. But for that to be safe, that's such an important part because that's when your identity is actually shifting, when you're being
Right.
confronted there. And to find
Absolutely.
people, that can hold that because it reminds me, how am I holding space for others when they're in
Mhm.
those moments? And how do I want to be held in those moments? So it's perfect for the next question because the next one is all about being supported. And we're great at supporting others, and, Jennifer, when Scotty's having to go into rehab or, coming home, all those adjustments, you're having to hold it together to keep running the business and all of that. And just like, okay, more, more, more. I can do this. I can do it. I'm a capacity woman. And it's like, no, you need to receive support around you and hold you through that. So it's a very um, big challenge to have to walk, but
Mhm.
also has helped you then, I'm sure, shift how you receive support and the difference it's made in your life. So take us through that. And, we're already talking about what those supports look like, but how are they transforming you and evolving you and your identity and your purpose?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said earlier, I was a very high capacity person and could get things done and do it myself, independent type of woman.
Yeah.
And when you're walking through something really hard like this, I couldn't do that. And
Yeah.
so, out of desperation, really, I learned that I needed help. I
Mm,
needed support. And crazy enough, like it's looking back, I I was scared of counseling. I was scared of coaching. I didn't want, and it seems so weird because now I'm all about that. And like
mhm,
I invite it into my life so much. But 8 years ago, I didn't want any of that, like
mhm,
I was scared of it. And so coming to that place of real surrender where you just recognize I cannot do this alone. I'm falling apart here in my mess. And if I don't invite people in and allow them to support me and help me, I'm going to fall apart. And this is going to, I don't know where I'm going to end up. Right.
right.
So it was out of desperation. And, God just showing me, I created you for community. You don't need to be in isolation because isolation is a really dangerous place for any of us.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
I
it's
don't want to,
it's like what prison uses,
right.
solitary confinement
Yeah,
to punish.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, there's times when we need alone time,
Yes.
but not
Yeah.
indefinitely. And
Yeah.
so, it just, this last 7.5 years has shown me that by, by investing in people, myself, like me being a part of community, allowing community into my
Mhm.
life, those people show up when you need them. Like my
Right.
husband went to rehab in August. Somebody from my community sent me some money out of the blue, just through Apple Cash. I didn't know that was coming,
Mm.
but those are people that have been in my life for a while now,
Yeah.
and we built relationships and they knew what I was going through. If nobody knew what I was going through and I
Right.
didn't allow people into my life, what would I do?
Yeah.
God used those people to bless me and to give to me when they knew I needed it. God knew I needed it. And so it's just so important um to take the time, take the risk to build it and to
Mhm.
invite people in because you never know when you're going to need that support and you also have something to give to those people as well, right? It's a
100. Yeah.
mutual thing. Yeah.
Which, yeah, we lead into the next of community as a mirror. But I want to stay in your responses to that previous question for a moment because the willingness with a brave and open heart does come with a risk, but we want to
Hmm.
accept that risk. And so
Yes.
there's probably some people that, you mentioned at the onset they'd be there forever and they shifted and changed. And so we do get our hearts broken a little bit, or relationships change. Some of my
Yeah.
wolf pack 30 plus years, some of those friendships have changed. And
Hmm.
and my heart has had to recalibrate around that, not harden, but kind of catch up and change with that, right?
Yeah.
And but that's part of the nature of the messy, beautiful life. And great rewards come with a little bit of risk. So just a
Yeah.
note of encouragement to stay open, because Jennifer, like I would say, you're in a far more abundant and robust place of life than you were, years ago, because of the people around you, because you were willing to be hurt a little bit, but keep going, right? From that
Absolutely.
closed out shell you talked about to now having what you have. And
Yeah.
absolutely, like it'd be so hard to go through challenges like that on our own. I know I couldn't have gone through my last year without some of those near and dear people as
Yeah.
well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So then that community is a mirror reflecting back to us who we're becoming. No, I'm
Mhm.
not safe with others, to now, who can I welcome and reciprocate this with? So these two women in particular, who are the
Mhm.
closest to you, what have they taught you about yourself? And are you surprised in your, different realms of circles by people who know you best, or the different versions of you that come out? What are you learning about you in your communities?
Yeah, that's a great question. I right before my husband relapsed, God put a community of women. It's called the Inspired Women, and it was a retreat I went to, and that's where I met one of these friends, Daphne, who's in my life. And God knew what I needed, right? Because I was
Mhm.
at a place in my life where I didn't know what was coming. I didn't know my husband was about to relapse, and
Yeah.
God put this community in my life at this retreat, and it was just a bunch of women from all different walks of life, all different churches, backgrounds, all coming together, just wanting to grow, go deeper with God. And I'm still a part of that community all of these years later, have gone to many retreats, that's where I met my life coach, Lene, that I still work with to this day. And and so through that, and then through meeting Daphne, and then my other friend Cindy, I've known much longer. Um, I think that one of the biggest things is they pulled out the gold in me.
Mhm.
We can be really hard on ourselves, right? And especially when you're in a situation where you just feel like every day you're surviving and you're making all these mistakes, and it's hard to really grasp a hold of any kind of hope. And these women brought me hope, and they taught me that that was okay. Like I didn't have to do it all on my own, right? Like
Yeah.
when I was tired and exhausted and just didn't even know if I could go another day, I'd get a phone call from one of them and like, you know what? I'm praying for you today. This is what I'm believing for you today and for Scotty and for your family. And that would just pour so much life into me. I mean, words of life, are so powerful. And it they taught me that they taught me how to speak different, honestly. Like there's one of my favorite verses talks about how there's the power of life and death is in the
And
tongue
tongue.
and the words that we speak, right? And I didn't always speak a lot of life. It was a lot of condemnation that I would speak over myself and my situation. And
Mhm.
so God has taught me how to come out of that. And He used those friends to help me speak differently and pray differently, right? And so,
And see
um,
yourself differently,
yes,
right? Like you
see
said,
myself
pulling out the
differently.
gold. Like that's got me weeping,
Yeah.
because they're holding up the bottom for us, right?
Right.
When we want to disappear and get lost in it.
Yeah.
And they're a rock on earth that we can lean on and say, I've
Yes.
got you. It's going to be okay. There's still good in this. Where? I can't. There's still good. I see it.
Yeah.
You don't have to. And they get you
Absolutely.
through those moments. Yeah. Okay. Keep going.
Yes, absolutely. I'm thinking of it, just one of the retreats I was at where, usually when I would show up to the retreat, I would be tired. I would be exhausted from feeling down and not really sure what the future holds. And then I would be surrounded by just so many amazing women and receive these words of encouragement where someone would tell me, like this is what God's telling me about you right now. I see so much strength in you. I see that you have a powerful voice. I see that you have a story that's just going to impact so many women. So when I'm literally living in the pit,
Mhm.
these women are saying these things to me, and I'm like, wow, really? Like
Mhm.
that gives me so much hope, and that's what I mean even about pulling the gold out. Like when I'm living in despair and not
Yeah.
even knowing where my life's going, God is using these women to speak truth into me and to remind me that I have a purpose and that there's going to be good that comes out of this. And I would hold on to those things. Like that is what would keep me going
Yeah.
and just keep moving forward,
Yeah.
right?
Totally.
I don't know what I would have done without that. It is priceless looking back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. To not be alone in our greatest time of need.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
we need women who are going to speak life into us, pull out the gold, like I said, pull
Yeah.
out those things in
Beautiful.
us that God sees in us that we can't see in those
That's
moments.
right. That's right. And
Yeah.
so, in doing that, I know for me, having received that, it's grown my
Hmm.
heart like the Grinch. Do, 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 and I already have a pretty big
Yeah.
heart.
Yes.
Pretty
Yes.
big. And but it's so humbling in a
Mm.
very respectful and dignified way to be the recipient of that. And
Yeah.
certainly, I think I can speak for both of us. It's grown the desire to give it back to others.
Right.
And so,
Right.
going through this experience, like you said, all being used for good, how is this reciprocity helping you show up in your community and giving back in everyday
Hmm.
ways? You're navigating Scotty's return to home and
Hmm.
now like getting yourself back in order again and ready to keep going with your purpose. And
Yes.
how has even this latest experience helped grow your heart and
Yeah.
keep you going?
Yeah, that's good. If I go back to last spring when things were really rough and Scotty was still in his addiction and life was crazy, in January of this year, God had led me to start working with a different type of coach that was going to get me on more summits and podcasts and things like that. God was really calling me to that. And I knew it. I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that's what he was asking me to do. Well, then life was blowing up, right? And I'm like, then I'm questioning it. By the time March and April comes here, I'm like, are you sure, God? Because I have all of these interviews scheduled, but my life is a mess.
Mm,
Why is this happening? Are you sure you want me to do this? I don't really want to do this, And had gone to the beach for my birthday by myself, which was amazing. Spent a
mm,
few days by myself
mhm,
and journaled a lot and just talked to God a lot. And he said to me, "This is actually the perfect timing for you to show up because women need." They need real, they need
mhm.
raw, they need to hear what are you actually experiencing in the moment, not the perfect put together stuff,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like you're actually still walking through this. And so that was something that I will not forget. And so I continued to show up and I did allow myself space if I needed to pause, but I would get back up and I wouldn't cancel everything. And I still did the podcast and I still
Mhm.
shared, but I was sharing from a place of this is the reality right now and this
Yeah,
is what's going on. And it's not this beautiful story at the moment,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And so being able to do that and to share from a very real, vulnerable place, I think is what connects women to each other. It's what we need. And even the things that I've learned the past 7.5 years on this journey, the things that God has imparted to me, I truly believe that the beauty from ashes that God talks about,
Mhm,
how he'll take the awful things in our lives and he'll turn it
mhm,
into something good.
mhm,
That part of that beauty is giving back to others. It's sharing our story. When I can share what I've been through with another woman and help them and give them hope, like I was given hope, that feels good. And that makes all of the junk that I went through feel like it had some kind of purpose. Because what if there's no purpose in the pain, why are we doing this?
Hmm.
Right? Like I
Hmm.
can't help someone and pour hope into somebody else through my story and through sharing. Why are we here?
Hmm.
So I truly believe that part of the giving back part is just imparting to others what we've learned along the way. And I get to speak life into women now the way that they spoke life into me during this time. And I still have women doing that for me, right? It's
Of
like
course, it
it's an
never
ongoing,
ends. Never
never
ends.
ends,
No, we're
never
never
ends.
free of
No,
the reality of Earth, life on Earth.
right. Absolutely. It's a mutual exchange of life that happens that is so beautiful and that we all need. And, the more women that I talk to, there are so many women out there that don't have community. They don't
Yeah,
have a place to show up. And
yeah,
that breaks my heart because
yeah,
we need it,
yeah.
right?
Hence this whole summit
Right.
idea that God's planted in my heart. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Okay, and there's three more next year. Like, okay,
Yes.
sure, whatever. But
Uh-huh.
the beauty that I, really heard in that is normalizing and
Hmm.
removing the veil. Because if we were to look at our Facebooks and, our like put togetherness that's so easy to sell, it's not the real thing. It's not. And again, big piece of my heart that I need and that I want to give to other women. It's safe to be messy. It's safe to be vulnerable. There's no such thing as being perfect.
Right.
And gosh darn it, if ain't nobody going to go first, then I will, and Jennifer will, and some of the
Yeah.
others in the summit will, and we will show you. We will show you, right? Like my friend, a podcast, exactly to your point. I have that life is messy right now. Talk about that. We need to hear that. We need permission to, sorry, not sorry, fart in public.
Yeah.
Stop holding in the
Right.
gas, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness.
Be real.
Be
Absolutely.
real. And in that, it doesn't devalue or like dim the purpose, the mission, the legacy that's coming out of this.
Mm-hmm.
It enhances it. It makes it stronger. It makes it safer and it makes it normal. Because if
Mm-hmm.
we're looking at people that we can't relate to, it's going to be a lot harder to close that gap, even though we 1000% belong on that same stage, room, position, responsibility, etc. Right?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
So, perfect way to lead into the last question of why we need each other, which we've
Mm-hmm.
really made clear. But for you,
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer, in the heart of it all, with everything you've said, why do you believe community is necessary for women, especially the everyday women, which is like we're working, we're momming, we're dealing with aging parents or husband problems or financials or other, work pressures, whatever, and business and faith and the everyday woman, the many hats. Where is our community so necessary to thrive in that position?
Yeah. Well, women are exhausted, right? Women are exhausted. They're tired. They need help.
We're menopausal.
Menopausal. We don't know how to ask for help. And um, we need people to show up for us. And we need to recognize that we don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers for myself. I used to think that I did.
Right?
I used to think I had all the answers for Scotty too, and I don't. I do not have all the answers. And I would not be here right now without my community. And I'm even back in August, right before Scotty went to rehab. We're also a part of a life group of people that we meet with weekly and have done that for years. And he's done that too. And so a few people from our life group met with me in August and they knew what was going on. And they said, you have got to do something different. This,
Mm,
and it's not that I didn't know that.
mhm,
I knew
mhm,
something had to change.
mhm,
There had to be different boundaries. He needed to leave. I couldn't just keep allowing what was happening to happen. I knew it, but I didn't have the strength to actually do it because I was tired. There's fear involved. So my people stepped in and said, look, we love Scotty and we're going to keep praying for him, but you have got to make a change or this is gonna we're watching you slip away, you know? And that was the day because of the strength that I got from them. I was able to tell him, you have to leave. You can't stay here any longer. And it was a couple weeks later when he decided to go to rehab. And I wouldn't have been able to make that decision on my own.
right.
It was too hard, even though I knew that was the right decision. But I needed people to tell me do this, and I needed the accountability too,
Yeah.
knowing that they were with me in it. They weren't just going to leave me stranded. They were going to continue to help me and encourage me and pray for Scotty. Um, but we can't figure it all out on our own. We just don't have it. We don't have it. God created us for community and not to just live on an island somewhere by ourselves, right?
Mhm.
We need what someone else has in their life. And they need what I have, and
Yeah,
they need what you have.
that's right.
And so we have to open ourselves up to that if we actually want to experience life the way God wants us to.
Right. They show you your blind spots
Yep.
and then they walk behind you to help you get through them.
Yep.
And as women, like Jennifer, you couldn't have started that response better. Women are tired.
Yes.
And yet we still are trying to show up and still do the best is like I can just go to one of my best friend's houses and just flop and just
Yeah.
she doesn't expect anything from me. She's just happy that I'm there.
Yeah.
And then she'll step in and do things for me. And at another cycle of life, I'm doing it for her. And
Right.
there's this the quote of like it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a village to take care of the
Yes.
women. We
Yeah.
are the village to each other. And
Right.
then from there, we can help. Like, my favorite things to do are to go camping with my best friends and our kids because we're
Yeah.
all cross working through things with leisure, with tidying, with I love cleaning the kitchen. They take the kids to the
Yeah.
beach and I
Yeah.
get to kick
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
They love to cook. I love to be at the beach in the sun with all the crazy like together. And it's so much richer because, yeah, we are tired, but if we have each other, we have someone to lean on and we get to co regulate from their energy and be
Yeah.
like, okay, I can do one more step.
Absolutely.
I can do one more step. Thank you.
Amen to that. Yep. Completely agree. Yeah, we need it. We need it so desperately.
Phenomenal. That was really beautiful. And you're embodying this. You're not just talking about this, you're living it. So, you guys, Jennifer's opened a Facebook group called Becoming Together, and it is that safe space to fall apart and still
Mhm.
see your gold,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And be held in that and not let
Yes.
go. It's she's going to
Yes.
hold you up from the bottom. And I jumped into that Facebook group right away because I have some shame and some weight that I just need to declare so it doesn't have power over me, and a safe space where I can
Right.
trust the leader because she's walked through something very
Mhm.
confronting that has potential to be judged, etc. And coming
Yes.
into that, and Jennifer's creating a space like that, I'm creating a space like that, others. Let's normalize and be that village to take care of
Right.
each other.
Amen. I love that you said that because women carry shame and guilt for we're not a good enough mom, we're not a good enough wife or a friend, whatever. I mean, the list goes on, right? And when you speak it out loud and bring it into the light, the things that we're shameful about, it loses its power, like you said, and the enemy can't use it against us in our lives.
Yeah,
And that's what God wants for us.
yeah,
Expose it,
yeah,
right? Expose it.
yeah.
And it definitely loses its power. So I love that you said that. So powerful.
Beautiful. All
Yeah.
right, so we'll go follow Jennifer on Facebook. Obviously, she's in this community, and you hear me say it ad nauseum because I mean it. We're here.
Yeah.
We're real. We want to like
Yeah.
touch you and know you. And as listeners, you're watching, but 2026, this summit is yours. I'm bringing you guys on, right?
Mhm.
So start acclimating to that now by hanging out with us and seeing we're
Amen.
all the same.
Right. Absolutely. I love that. Thank you
Beautiful.
so much.
Oh,
This
thank
is
you.
great.
So good.
Yeah.